Welcome, one and all, to a special edition of the Fan Panic Podcast because it is 3/16, Stone Cold Steve Austin Day.
Yup. I know all
Brennan
about
and
that
I
guy.
will be recasting our favorite matches and how much of an influence he had over us in the 1990s, while Kayla sits there and just listens like a good girl.
She was like, "Can I hear more about the female
Aw,
wrestlers?"
I'm a good girl.
Oh
I'm a
man,
nice lady.
nice lady. That would
What
be
a
a
nice
wrestling
lady.
name. That'd be your finisher.
That would be.
That'd be.
Hit you with the nice lady.
By God.
Oh, good God.
It's like a chokehold.
Yeah.
Good God.
I like completely wrap around you and choke you out the entire time. I'm like, shh, you're a nice lady.
Just petting her. Just petting the girl as she falls asleep. Wait.
Oh my
Like,
God.
she does the fucking mandible claw. She just sticks her
Right.
hand in and she's like, shh. That would be your finisher.
Oh
A
man,
nice lady.
it sounds really nice. You know, it. I may have just got into a fight with you, but I'm gonna show
But
you
that doesn't mean we can't be friends.
we can be friends.
Like you drag, you like, after you beat them, you like pick them up and carry them back to the locker room, like slowly. Like,
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah.
Just like,
Man.
are you doing okay?
It's like, listen,
Sure.
things got a little crazy out there.
This is-
Let's talk this out.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're in my bedroom now. Just
Oh,
thought-
gosh.
I brought you here so you could be safe.
There's a bunch of people out there that wanted me to hurt you. I was only doing it for them. I was only doing it for the fans, you know? But yes, today we are actually going to wrap a little on current events and whatnot and what's going on in the world. And yeah, it sucks.
What, the world sucks?
Well, what's been going on in the world, you know, with the war and the whatnot, and the Putin
Well.
and the whole.
You putting one over on me?
Oh God, you're not making puns. People are dying, Kayla.
People are dying, Kayla.
You're not making puns.
To be fair, I think that's kind of a punchline. Not even a punchline. It's kind of a statement we say to Kayla a lot.
Yeah,
People are dying,
people
Kayla.
are dying, Kayla. We're at Applebee's, like
Right.
like,
People are dying.
you don't get it, all right? People are dying. But yes,
No.
it's been very sad, and you know it's.
It's been wild. It
You know, it's
so
like
fast.
it's like a fucking 80s movie all of a sudden now. Like, you know, not even 80s movie. Like, it's like Call of Duty circa 2011. Like, we have ultra nationalists now that are doing crazy
But
shit.
that's
And
that's literally what Call of Duty was
is
about.
that really what it
Like,
was? It's about them trying to
Yeah.
like reform the Soviet Union and invading all these spots and sending in
Is that
dogs
really what
strapped
he's doing
with
right now?
C4. That's exactly
Oh, it's
what
absolutely
Putin's doing.
that's exactly what Putin's doing.
Yeah, he
You know.
he's admitted so himself. Like he doesn't like the loss to prestige that Russia had in the early '90s when the Soviet Union disbanded, and he
I
wants
feel
it
like
back.
it was prestige.
What?
Like his definition of prestige is very different from mine.
Yeah, seriously.
Doing terrible things does not make you prestigious.
Well, it does. I was about to say it does in the army, but that would have been fucked up.
Ooh.
That's not true. But it is in his army. Yeah, right. Seriously.
What a crazy man.
He's a crazy, crazy man. But
It has
So,
been insane though. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I mean, this has been kind of like a whole situation coming. Like, since Ukraine first decided to go, hey, you know what? We actually want to be a part of the EU and not part of your little,
little cult.
well, yeah, your little, organization. Because it's literally like Russia and the country of Belarus, which they are also kind of ruled by a kind of questionable psychopath of a dictator over there as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And one day Ukraine just decided, yep, you know what? We want to be recognized for more. The European
did they-
side.
how did they like break away to begin with? Like didn't they have to have some kind of military or something? Like how did
Well,
they?
Well, Ukraine was part of the Soviet bloc and was a country, quote unquote, I suppose, at that time.
all the countries were autonomous. You know,
They
it
were
was like-
autonomous, but
yeah.
they were basically under the regime of the
Yeah,
Soviet.
yeah. Basically, think of it like Ukraine was like New York. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Like a state. Okay.
Yeah,
Basically,
of the Soviet Union. It had its own, country. It had its own police force that had its own
It's
armed
seceded.
forces, pretty much, yeah. And then
Oh my
Well,
what's
goodness.
his
no,
name?
when the Soviet Union collapsed, all these countries, the entire bloc kind of fell apart. Now all these countries are kind of having to look out for themselves.
Right.
And there was a lot of questions. I mean, a big thing that happened at the point was Ukraine and Russia were very, very close allies throughout most of their history. I mean, that there'll be no doubt, Stalin did some really, really messed up things in Ukraine.
Yeah.
He slaughtered hundreds and hundreds of
Stalin,
thousands,
yeah.
maybe even millions of people in Ukraine. But he got away with it. But I mean, they had nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and Ukrainians voluntarily gave them back to Russia because they were like, "Hey, you guys are our buddies." And what was that? 2014, I suppose.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
The well-laced and workings of the CIA, and I'm sure the Western European countries finally succeeded in changing the opinions of the public, and they went from being a pro-Russian majority to a pro-European and pro-Western government of a democracy. And Putin found himself basically not going to be able to take advantage of previous relationships, such as Ukraine's access to the ports. Russia gets very cold, and most of their ports are in the north, which freeze over. So they were relying on a lot of Ukrainian and southern ports in order to keep exports going out. That's why they rushed to claim Crimea the way they did. It was a lot of aspects of the geopolitical structure that really had reverberations towards Putin.
Right.
So,
I mean, yeah, there were valid reasons for why he would want to take over. He just didn't have any that I mean, well, like for his own benefit, for the country's benefit. But unfortunately, there was none that his cover story was that there is a pro-Nazi regime in Ukraine. And
That was the most ridiculous thing. When I heard that, I was like, "Are you serious?"
Now, what's actually interesting is there is not so much pro-Nazi, but is a what Nazis called? They were National Socialists, something like
Party,
that.
Nationalist. Yeah.
Right. So, but there is a National Socialist Party in Ukraine that was gaining momentum. They weren't necessarily Nazis in the traditional sense, but they were very anti-Russian because they felt the Russians, the Russian government was forcing things upon them that they felt weren't fair, and they were saying, "No, we're Ukrainian, we are not Russian," and so you were having this nationalist movement that could have developed, become dangerous if left unchecked, but I mean, you don't really know. Like, it didn't seem like it was
they seemed like they were okay on their own. You know what I mean? I just think
it was
an excuse for him to roll in there and flex some muscle and show that Russia, is still wanted to be feared and whatnot, and and people are dying because of one guy's bruised ego. You know what I mean? Something that happened 30 years ago.
Sorry, that was mad loud of cough.
There was Oh, go ahead, Will.
I said, what do you think?
I obviously am not thrilled about any of this. I think Putin's being a little dick. And
Kayla's gonna end up dead.
Yeah, right? Well, it's been real. You can't kill me. I'm no longer 27.
That's fair.
I can't.
Happy birthday, Kayla, by the way, which was yesterday.
Oh, right.
Yes. Thank you.
We did not give Kayla her birthday punches, which I am.
I don't get those anymore. I'm an adult.
No, now you just get them in the face.
Okay.
No, but Putin, I just when I saw him pulling up and I was watching the news a lot more when it first started happening, when he started putting all this military right on fucking Ukraine's doorstep, and was no, we're just hanging out, we're just cool, we're just putting them there, we're having a picnic.
Yeah,
and I was
the equivalent of putting your hand in your sibling's face and being I'm not touching you, you can't get mad.
Yeah, for real. And then it became literally, I think it was a day later, he was you guys gotta let us just come in. Just like let us come in. We're not gonna do anything. We're gonna move our picnic now like inside your house. Like, can you just let me do that?
There's
then,
bees out here.
Yeah, really. Ukraine was obviously like, no, what the fuck? Like, get out of my property. And then he's like, all right, well, like, that's really fucking rude. So
that was Zelensky's response. It's rude.
It's fucking rude. So like, now I'm gonna have to force my way in. It's just like toxic. It's fucking gaslighting because he was like, this is your fault. And it was just like, how do you figure, sports fan? Like, respect my boundaries.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
very toxic relationship.
Honestly, that is so funny. You are right. It's Putin is just gaslighting an entire
he
fucking
just
country.
gaslit the whole time. He like completely gaslit the whole fucking country. And then he was like, well, if you're not going to give me what I want, then I'm just going to be a dick. And so now he's being like abusive.
Yeah, literally.
And it's just like, it's really like, I don't know. It's like fucking insane. And I don't know. Like, I think I saw something in the news that he the weirdest shit. He was like, "Oh, I'm sanctioning Biden and Hillary Clinton."
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
Biden's
That's what he
son.
tried to fire back at us about.
And I'm like he seriously, like, he thought he did something. I'm like, that's so fucking random. Like, like you're the most random people to sanction. You're just like, oh, like, I'm gonna sanction them. Like, I don't know. It's like,
I mean, I got to give
silly.
credit where it's due. I was never a huge fan of Hillary, but I think she retweeted it and she was like, "I'm gonna wear this as a badge of honor."
Yeah, really.
And I thought that was
like,
really funny.
It's just funny how he's like, yeah, I'm sanctioning like these. It was them and I think a couple other political figures he sanctioned, but
yeah,
like,
who wasn't on that list?
Yes, fair enough. But anyway,
I think we do know. But yeah, and then he's like sanctioned by every other fucking country. You know, it's just like, it's like, I don't know, it's like getting fired and then telling your boss, no, I quit. You can't fire me because I quit.
Yeah. Backdated to before you fired me.
They're like, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah. It was like the equivalent.
Seriously.
It was like the equivalent of the Office episode where he interviews for the job with David Wallace. And David Wallace is like, actually, I think we're going to go another way. And Michael's like, that's good because I rescind my application from.
Yeah, like, actually, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It seriously is. And he's acting so childish. And I'm like, dude, like, what did you, like, you drink too much vodka? Is your brain, like, regressing? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, you're, like, being mad dumb. Like, well, so, I don't know. The whole thing is.
The real thing there that is, you know, Russia has done this before. You know, this strategy has worked for them where they set up, they come up with an excuse to come into a country, and when they get there, they're just, well, no, they get there and then they make it seem like, oh, look, all these people, they want us to be here. Oh, you guys want to join Russia? Oh, shocking. You know, so to their extent, they felt, you know, he felt that he could do the same thing. He could come in quickly, take out the country's political structure, reform a new government, and then that new government would justify, like, oh yes, it was horrible here before you guys got here. Putin was right, and the whole thing would kind of disappear. It would take away the political leverage. But because the war has drawn out, you know, that's why all these sanctions have been hitting us. Why all these things are kind of dragging out on them. And yeah, he's really, you know, they might still take the country. They might still.
I think they'll take Ukraine, but you know, I think what is it going to be? Is it going to be a vassal state? Are they going to leave? I don't know where this ends, you know. But the thing is because of these sanctions and because of what's going on, like their economy is in shambles.
Oh yeah, it's
like you only have so much money to produce tanks, to produce weapons, to produce, and all these things now because of what they're doing. Like their only like supporter in all this is China. So they're gonna run out of raw materials eventually.
Well, India is being complacent as well, I will say. Like,
India have money?
Yeah, India. Yeah, they are looking like, hey, this is really cheap oil. Guess what? I guess I'll buy it. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to think that it's got to end eventually, but the problem is like how, you know, I don't know how it's going to end because, you know, there's rumblings that he's going to try to go into Poland. If he goes into a NATO country, then it's World War III.
Then it's a whole fucking
then it's on and popping. And
yeah,
another big thing to kind of show is like, just because of how much they've messed this up, I don't really think that he really wants to go into a NATO country because it would have to escalate to bigger weapons.
Right.
Because
Yeah, they already like he's doing so much just for Ukraine, and Ukraine's like fighting back pretty hard. I don't know. He'd be dumb. Like he's already being dumb, but I think he'd be like really fucking stupid.
I think Ukraine's putting up more of a resistance than he predicted, but I still think
that's really it. Yeah,
I still think that they're gonna win pretty handily.
They thought that they would.
I feel like even if they like manage to like occupy a lot of Ukraine, I still see a major resistance maintaining. Yeah. Like I don't think they're gonna end up with like any Ukrainians. They're gonna have to like that whole state's probably gonna be like fucking like what, like 20% Ukrainians if they haven't evacuated or fucking fought forever.
That's the thing too, is like people always forget that there's so many ethnic Ukrainians living in Russia. So they this doesn't have a lot of support from the populace of Russia either. Like the people of Russia don't want this at all. Like,
they were protest. Yeah.
It was also kind of showing to say that the propaganda was going on because a lot of Russians, they're not in favor of it, but they have no idea just how bad it actually is because of all the cover-ups. There is, of course, the youth who find different ways to get on the internet and get the information out of the from different.
Well, what was the thing that they were doing on Amazon where they were leaving reviews? I think was what it was on like Russian bed and breakfasts.
Oh, I
Have
didn't
you seen that?
see.
Or not on
yeah,
on like Airbnb or Yelp. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
like they were like leave reviews on Russian like bed and breakfasts and be like, by the way, your fucking dictator's lying to you. They're killing innocent people in Ukraine. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, have you not seen that? It's crazy.
No,
that's crazy. Everything is censored.
That's awesome.
Like I think like the PSAs in Russia are just like, we are saving Ukrainians day by day from the Nazi regime. Like
wow.
It's right. It's literally like 80. It's like not even 80s, like 60s Soviet Union over there. Just obey.
I wonder if it's gonna like if any of this behavior is gonna like incur like a revolution in Russia. Like if they're gonna be like, this is fucking ridiculous.
I want to say there's gonna be a coup, but I don't think so.
You would. I mean, listen. There is the idea behind the sanctions, behind everything else, is basically just any keys to any empire. How long can you hold out? Okay, how long can because of course all the generals are going to be loyal to Putin. All of the senior cabinet members are going to be loyal right now. But the moment that their pockets, it starts from the ground up, and it's the poor, the middle class, the upper class, and then the elite at some point. The moment enough generals, say, hey, my family can't eat, that's basically when somebody steps in, and say, hey, we're going to have to forcibly remove this guy. So, it's does not seem it's going to fix the problem, because most likely what's going to happen is you replace one
cut off one snake, head, and two more will
replace one snake with another one. Right. But he's just gonna show up and be like, "Hey, look, I'm different from this guy, so I got rid of the guy that you guys hated, and all his buddies are gone. So I'm the new guy in charge, and let's forget about this whole thing." And but I'm gonna keep Crimea just because.
Crimea don't pay.
Right. Yeah.
As Bob Hope said. Yeah, that's right. I'm bringing it back to Bob Hope. Deal with it. I don't know, man. It seems so, and not to get too political, but it's just like the timing of it was always like, I don't know, like this had to be done during this presidency, and it just sucks,
I mean, like I said, I don't want to get in like political conspiracy things, things of that.
But it's just frustrating. Nature. It's more and. Just real quick, like people are using this as like a political tool to take points away from the president.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are people's lives that you're talking about. Like to say that that somebody's indirectly responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths due to some madman, like you're nuts.
You're gaslighting.
You're fucking crazy.
Well,
I mean?
that's
nuts.
I do feel
that's like blaming Bush for 9/11. It's just
Well, I mean, I do feel that. One tactic that has happened here in the U.S. is the political division machine. and I do think that there's two national, uh, just the fact that something comes out from Russian state media, and then people here on a certain political spectrum say, "Hey, you know what? That actually might be true. Putin's not the bad guy."
Yeah, I
And
mean, I haven't seen. Admittedly, I haven't seen as much of that as I at first thought I would. Like the reason I actually wanted to discuss this is because I feel like this is actually one of the few, you know, things that has bipartisan support.
it
Like
it is getting there. I mean, there are some pockets, of course, of holdouts, and
sure.
people saying. I mean, I've seen articles stating that, oh yes, they developed the coronavirus in Ukraine now, which
Mm.
is, you know,
Well,
the
you gotta stay off of. I was about to drop a name. I'm not gonna drop
no,
it,
I'm
but
just saying, like, no, but it's different. These stories come from someplace. Like, you can
sure,
kind of trace it. Honestly,
sure,
all you gotta do is just, like, a reason I read both sides of the aisle is
right,
because I like to see where where did this come from. So,
right,
and I do think that the America's two biggest rivals in the world is China and Russia for geopolitical influence, uh, trade influence, just global influence as well.
right,
And because it's apparent, even if the two of them combined their forces, they could never invade America.
right.
You know.
I mean, you would hope. I mean, I agree with you, but
Well, that's just the thing. Like, we have two oceans on either side. We would see it coming. Um, we have the largest air force in the world. Be it'd be a rough thing for them to try to intimidate us militarily. They can intimidate our allies. They can intimidate us. Intimidate other countries throughout the world. But so I think that they do have a campaign of trying to divide the country because, as they say, a house divided cannot stand. So,
right,
um,
sure,
yeah, I do think that's a lot of misinformation on both sides of the political spectrum come from
right.
these two global powers to say,
Doing that, it's true, but a lot of the problem with misinformation is like you have to look at always look at the source. Like even on Wikipedia, I'll always look at something. I gotta see if it's sourced. If it's not sourced, I don't buy it. You
hmm
know, a famous like I think it happened like 3 days ago. Like a host on a certain news channel said that some people told me that Biden sees Putin as a partner, and
right,
people are pointing out like what people like your racist father-in-law, like I don't know, like what does that
yeah,
mean? Like you're a newscaster, you can't say some people, like that
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. And that's the problem, it's like that's what people do, like that's how misinformation, that's the fastest way misinformation spreads. And it's like, oh, my cousin told me that Putin's gonna kill what I mean, like okay, what the fuck's your cousin, like I don't care about this shit, like sorry, is your cousin the director of CIA? Then okay, I'll take it. But
right,
I mean,
yeah,
that's the problem that you have to deal with in this day and age. And that was the whole thing with Facebook and Twitter and COVID and the vaccine. And a lot of people don't like what they did, but they were trying to curb the spread of misinformation, and I totally understand that because there was a lot of it.
right.
But anyway,
So I mean, but listen, like it is a part of the kind of the modern warfare. Okay, information
right,
and
disinformation.
yeah, information, share of information is key. Um, you keep people confused if you can keep people off guard on what they should support. Maybe your political leaders don't support what we're or stall in trying to send support until they're able to complete the operation to how they want to see fit.
Right,
you know, but again, like, it's really, Putin could have, I suppose, in a way, I guess it could have seemed like calculating if he had just said, okay, we're going to do these trade deals. We're going to um, work on advancing trade with our trade partners, but he wants to be seen back as a superpower, as
right.
saying,
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. He
you know,
wants he wants the Soviet Union back. That's what he wants. Is he
right,
misses the days where because let's be honest, people, if you ask people like 10 years ago, like what was the biggest, maybe more than 10, like in the mid 2000s, like what was the biggest threat, people would be like, oh, China, we're going to be at war with China, we're going to do this with China. nothing ever really panned out with China. I feel like Putin kind
China,
of was mad that Russia kind of got ignored for the last 20 years as like a threat to the United States. No, I'm
He was
serious.
like, "No,
yeah.
I'm scary too."
Yeah, I'm scared too. Look
No.
look
What
at what
about
I
me?
do. I drive into Ukraine.
It's really it really comes.
Wow.
It's really partially like he wants countries that sit there and say like, no, yeah, we will buy only Russian. We will buy from Russian,
Right.
and that is good for their economy. That's helps drive it up. Um, yeah, he like I said, he a lot of the things that he's doing are he feels that he's getting pushed into an economic corner,
Right.
and he wants to forcibly change the narrative.
I mean,
Um,
that's what he's saying. Do you believe he actually believes that?
I know I believe that he does feel like he's been pushed into. I mean, it's all self-inflicted because
Right.
it started with them saying, um, when Ukraine first flipped, that yeah, it's going to suck to not have access to warm water parts and a favorable trade deal, um, because Ukraine would then most likely say, hey, if you want to use our parts, you have to pay X, Y, Z. It's going to hurt Russia's bottom line, uh,
Mm.
hurt Russian exports, because they have to use their northern fleets, and it's up by the Arctic, so those ports are only really
Yeah.
usable 4, maybe 5 months out the year.
Right.
Um, that's why he moved so quickly to grab Crimea. He got hit with sanctions then, and I really just kind of felt that a lot of this was just saying, hey, we can just force a regime change, and we can force them to kind of come back to our side, and
So, yeah.
we'll
Maybe
have
that's
access to the rest of their ports,
right.
and we could do this deal, and it's going to be great, and we'll just make up some stuff and like all this stuff. Like I do think that he has cut himself off from the rest of the world, unfortunately. Like
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
you know,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's the issue. But yeah, I mean,
Ukraine did a hell of a job. They did not just
yeah.
roll over
Hey,
and
listen, all the support in the world to Ukraine. My heart goes out to everything that's going on there. It's war as hell, man. Like it's just I know nothing. I've never been close to it, but
war is not hell. Okay,
hell is
because
hell.
yeah, hell is
Yeah.
hell, war is war.
Yes. I saw the
Okay,
Max quote too.
okay.
But it is true.
So yeah,
On to our next topic is maybe something a little lighter. Well, but still kind of related. Let's talk about the fucking price of gas, man. Like, what is going on?
Oh, they expect everything like that to go up. Also, expect like prices of food. I just heard
Well,
that they're actually
inflation, yeah.
increased, but they're also increasing interest rates for like everyone. If you have anything that's variable, you should try to get it fixed because anything variable, it's going to go up. So keep that in mind.
So work on that, folks.
Yeah, and like everything's going up, and then I think I heard like pasta products are gonna start like really going up, and it's just everything's gonna be more expensive, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And then they're charging extra to see certain movies. Like, that's some bullshit. I'm sorry.
Are they?
Yeah, the Batman at AMC theaters was
Oh,
$2 more
you
than
know
regular
what's kind
films.
of they're kind of dying. So like I don't know if HBO what kind of
No, they didn't.
contract
They
they
were
have.
originally going to do that, and I was kind of pissed when they didn't. Because I mean, this is getting on topic. I don't care, but I know. Did you see what Amanda, one of our
Yeah, she
sometimes
was a
guests
guest.
on this show, yeah, a couple times, um, she posted the other day, and it's absolutely true. It's just like going to the movies is like 90% of the time is kind of a pain in the ass. Because like I don't know what it is nowadays, but with phones and just but like people don't shut the fuck up during movies.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
last movie I saw was Spider-Man: Far From Home, and my girlfriend will tell you like that theater was loud, and it was like really like I get it's a high energy movie. It was hotly anticipated, but people got to be better with like shutting the fuck up when there's movies because it's so inconsiderate. And
Yeah.
when I saw Batman, because I have HBO Max, and originally it was supposed to release, but everybody is freaking out. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson sued Disney because they released Black Widow on Disney Plus. Like no stars want their shit released on streaming. They want it in the
hmm
theaters.
Well, yeah,
So
they
hmm
make more money.
yeah, so WB, I think it was originally supposed to be on HBO Max, and then they were like, never mind, it's only going to be in theaters. So that
I
like pissed me off because I want to see it, but I also don't want to go to the fucking theater. Like you
yeah.
asked me, we had this conversation earlier. I like my home. I like to be able to sit on the couch and throw this on. Like, yes, it's not a big screen, and yes, intense movies. It's like a cool experience. Like I always remember watching Jurassic World at IMAX. Like that was a crazy fucking time. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of like most movies, it doesn't really make a difference for me to sit at home and watch it.
So
Especially,
I like am nervous about everything moving into streaming. Like, I mean, it is definitely convenient. I don't want the theater industry to die. I don't want the movie theaters to not exist
theater
anymore.
industry will never die because there's too many people that aren't like me that do just enjoy the experience of going.
Yeah,
But to
but like I
my
wish the
point,
etiquette was better.
that's exactly what
Like
I'm saying. Like,
that's
yeah,
some bullshit.
have you
Like,
ever been to the Alamo Draft House?
yes.
You've been there. Like they're really good with that down there. That's why I
Yeah.
actually do like to go to films down there. Well, I say down there because the closest one is like 45 minutes south of me in
Yeah,
Yonkers.
it is. It's freaking
Um,
far.
and because they'll do that, like they will. I've seen them kick people out before for talking because people fucking talk too much during movies.
I
They
just
really do.
wish that like all those other theaters that are nearby like did the same thing, and like
Me too.
I agree, like it's annoying. And like a lot of my movies, I would do like mid-afternoon movies or something, like really random days, because I used to like back in the day I had Movie Pass, and they're actually talking about like potentially bringing Movie Pass back.
Isn't that when like you paid like a flat fee and saw
You
as many
paid
movies
it
as you
was
wanted?
I loved it. You paid like initially it started with you paid like $10 a month. You got to see as many movies as you want.
That's a damn
Then
good deal.
obviously it was a great deal, but it wasn't fiscally feasible. Like they're obviously losing dumb money, but they thought if they could acquire 1 million subscribers, or not 1 million, but like a certain amount of subscribers, and then up the price, like that would like at least maybe you could be grandfathered in for a year or two, but eventually it would go up. Like they would be able to prove that their product is worth keeping and paying extra for, which is like a fair game plan. But the issue is they undersold. They should have upped the price a little bit higher in the beginning and then try to like make their product better. Like it became like a whole thing, and like it was a lot of fun. Like I did used to go like almost every week I went to go see a movie, and it was great. Like I really enjoyed it. And I would go and like I would also see like really obscure stuff. Like I'm not huge into Marvel, so like I went to go see The Shape of Water. Like like that was like these like random movies.
And you end
where,
up seeing gems. I'm sure that you were just like, that was great. No one talked about it. Like,
yeah, like Shape of Water was freaking amazing. Also,
well, that
anything
that
like
did win
Guillermo
like
del Toro's
Oscars.
music.
Yeah, didn't he win Best Director for that?
It definitely. I mean, like Guillermo's amazing. He's a
Yeah,
phenomenal
animal.
director.
Did
But
you ever play
it's
Death
just like
Stranding?
no.
Didn't he make that or was that PT? He made some video game on PS4.
Oh, I should check it out then.
Oh yeah, I think that was Just Stranding, something like that.
Death
Whatever.
Stranding. He made it with the dude Hideo
From
Kojima,
the
who
zombie
made-
guy.
Oh no,
Yes.
no,
No,
Metal
that
Gear
guy's
Solid.
Walking Dead.
Metal Gear Solid. Hideo Kojima.
Oh, I'm thinking of isn't Death Stranding the one with it's like
Yeah, the
space
actor.
and it's...
The actor
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
yes. It's Derek.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened that like kids like just while out in theaters these days, and like
it's
I
true.
feel like I don't know, everyone just is doing shit for attention and like wants to become
People
like
just fucking talk too much. Like this dude in front of me at Spider-Man had AirPods in. Like, what are you doing? Are you here to watch the
Yeah.
movie?
Like, why are
are you
you
here?
what-
And, like,
what
you
is
could tell
that?
like he didn't care about the movie. It was just his friends were there, and I'm just like, your friend, like, just wait at the fucking friendlies across the street until you know what I mean. Like,
right.
it doesn't make any sense. You can't do anything in the theater anyway. That's why, like, remember people used to go on dates and they used to go see movies.
Yeah.
Like, why
I
would
like
you
to
do that?
do that.
Why? You can't talk to the person. And this is me saying that. I hate talking to people.
No, because you go see the movie and then you talk about ideally you're supposed to go see the movie and then get dinner and then it gives you something to talk about.
That's too much to do in one night.
What?
I
Dinner in a
can't.
movie? Oh my god.
I can't.
That's like my favorite.
I'm in
Well,
my
I mean,
30s.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
like that's like kind of standard, Brendan. Just you know,
Not
I love
anymore. It's
dinner
not.
in a movie.
Brendan's like date night for me.
No, yeah.
Dinner.
Dinner.
and then bed.
Listen, I tell my girl all the time on Friday for pizza movie nights, if she's not here by 9, we're not starting a movie because I'm going to fall asleep at the end. But what I was gonna say, just because you were talking about not fiscally responsible, and we were and we were talking about wrestling at the beginning of this. It is funny because now that Kayla graciously has let me been using her Peacock account, they have the pay-per-views on Peacock, and Peacock is like $15 a month, and you can watch all the pay-per-views when they come out for wrestling pay-per-views.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And I've ordered pay-per-views like back when I was a kid. They're 60. They used to be $60 a piece.
Yeah, they used to be like $50, $60 depending on which ones. Like WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah, I know you're paying like $15 a month, and you watch it. Like, I don't understand how that. Like, they're definitely losing money on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't know why they're doing that. I was wondering if Will, you had any take on that.
I guess because I'm guessing profit sharing. That's the only thing I can honestly think about it. Because if you have, if we're talking wrestling, WrestleMania is the biggest selling event. But like, how many people watch things outside of WrestleMania? I suppose.
I watched the Royal Rumble because it was on.
It's like the big one. So I guess if you kind of add it up over the course of a year, and like I said, if they're getting a share of that revenue, if you have a couple million people that are subscribed and they're getting every pay-per-view event, that means you kind of see it as a yearly sale. How many yearly viewerships that you have. Even if the ratings are down on it, they still kind of, because it's a subscription-based service, I think the finances of it have to equal out to either being more or, similar.
Gotcha. That's
so
interesting.
It's like if WrestleMania is your big one and you sold 1 million views of that, okay, which is great.
But they're not. It's like you said. It's views though, but it's not actual buys. So
no, I'm saying if you had 1 million pay-per-views sold of WrestleMania, right, which is one event, then the rest of the year your pay-per-views, which they're still always 60, 70, $60, $50 as they are themselves, but they only get 10,000 or 100,000 views. Okay, for the rest of the year. I'm just using it, just the math is simple.
Right.
But, if you have a streaming service, like you're just paying that monthly regardless. Those checks come in whether people are watching it or not, I would assume. Just like what they did with the WWE network. It was just like, hey, if you watch this or not, the check is coming in. So, yes, you spend $10 a month and you get to see the big show, but you spend $120 for the year, $10 a month or whatever it is, $15 a month. Is what $100, $150, $200 for the year to watch everything, and I just assume that they would just be like, hey, that's actually more money, even if they don't watch it. Even if we lose on the actual WrestleMania pay-per-view sales or overall yearly contribution, because a lot of people sign up for these things and they forget.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I can't tell you the last time I used my Netflix. My dad uses it.
Right.
Yeah, I rarely use Netflix.
But it's just like, I don't want to unsubscribe because what if that one thing that comes out?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm waiting. Well, I had it for Witcher, and then I was going to unsubscribe after The Witcher, and my dad was like, no, I use it. And I was like, all right.
Right.
And then I'm waiting for Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy 3 and
Stranger Things.
Those other things. But anyway, last topic of the day.
Birthday punches. For or against?
No.
What are your bets on the inevitable cage match between Kanye and Pete Davidson?
Oh my god.
Because listen, Pete's got that reach. He's taller than Kanye. He's lanky. I don't know.
Honestly, it's really crazy. I mean, what Kanye is doing is actually
very toxic.
Kanye's crazy. Like, I
isn't he like off his medication right now?
He's schizophrenic.
He might be.
He might be. And
I thought he's bipolar.
Or he's
Yeah,
bipolar.
that's what they
Yes.
said. He's
Yes,
bipolar.
he's bipolar. I
I thought
apologize.
he is like actually, but I thought it was
No,
like
no, he is.
formally
Yes.
diagnosed
No,
bipolar.
he is. He is.
And then
He's
yeah,
a
and then
crazy
whenever he goes
motherfucker.
off his meds, he's like, you know, which is, you know, I don't know if it's one or two, but he definitely shouldn't not take his medication.
And I don't know, I don't know what the story was between that whole breakup, but it doesn't seem like it's mutual, and it just like. But then he's also dating somebody new that looks just like Kim, so it's like, why is he bothering fucking Pete
He's
Davidson?
wilding. No, because he's like wilding out right now because he lost Kim, so he's like, and like now this like random guy, yeah, like it's he's definitely not over Kim, and even though he's dating somebody, I think it's just a body, and like
Right.
maybe it's not, but also you shouldn't, the way he's acting, you shouldn't be acting that way. Like it's
No.
disrespectful to your wife or your ex-wife.
You're
It's
stalking
disrespectful to yourself, and it's disrespectful to the girl you're currently like dating. Like none of that is like gentleman behavior. And then to sit there and like some tweets text messages got leaked where
Oh yeah, he texted. He's like, I'm in bed
Pete
with
was
your
like,
wife.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
And Kanye's just like fucking, he's just like, yo, come to Sunday service and we'll talk. And I'm like, why you gotta act like you're high and mighty suddenly? Like, I'm assuming Sunday service he meant church. Like,
I would assume too, but like I
No,
think he's also trying to disarm him.
Sunday service is it's kind of like a church. It's like a concert that Kanye holds in his backyard like every Sunday. He has a big choir and they do like remixes of songs, the gospel songs. It's a whole experience. It's actually supposed to be pretty dope, but
yeah, but like he shouldn't be like trying to make these things. It's just not healthy. Like none of it is like healthy, and he needs to read a book on like being a parent when you're divorced.
Yeah, and just dealing with he needs to read that book that I read on dealing with breakups.
Yeah, really.
I mean, damn, dude, it's just and I'm sorry, this is apparently this is a controversial statement, but Kim is a fucking idiot, and it's just like the things she's saying now are not like the whole thing she said about working. Like, look, I don't doubt that Kim Kardashian works hard because she's got a lot to do. You know what I mean? But the reason she's rich isn't because she works hard. And to say that, to talk, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, she definitely, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, she definitely has a privilege that
Right.
an incredible amount of women in the country don't have.
Yeah, it's incredibly tone deaf. And I've heard people like sticking up for her, being like she did work, she built this. Like no, she didn't. Like I'm sorry, but like she does. She works hard now, but she didn't work hard to form what she had. Like
I think like the
she
context
failed
of her,
upwards.
yeah, right. The context of like her message is like
bad.
coming from her. No, the coming from her is just like, yo, really, like, what do you know about this? Like, what do you know about going out and making sales calls and
Right.
grinding and trying to establish a foothold? Like, you had one thing happen which led to a reality TV series, and yeah, sure, you made hell of appearances and you're always traveling and you.
Yeah, she works hard. I'm not arguing that she doesn't, but I'm
No, I'm saying like she is the celebrity bubble, like
Right.
which, yeah, like it is what it is there. Like you are right. Like you do have to kind of go out here if you want to make money. You have to go to school. You got to learn. You have to sit there and say, I'm not going to hang out tonight, and I'm going to work on this to get better at whatever it is. Like the core value of the message is true, and I kind of feel like a lot of younger girls, especially, they're just like, well, I just want to be on Instagram. I'm starting OnlyFans. Like,
yeah, right.
I'm hearing about these girls that make 200 grand a month, 100 grand a month starting an OnlyFans, which, not saying anything, but Kayla, if you want to do that route, quicker, we're here for you. We support you.
We can manage it, yeah.
Right. We're just saying as your friends.
6% off the top. I mean, what?
Okay. Right. Okay. This is America. They love titties. Anyway, so
They do.
But yeah, so I think that's what she was trying to getting at, is that a lot of especially younger girls are just kind of like, well, I'm pretty, but which is crazy to me because like Kim, you created the model, you created the business model just to be like, well, I'm pretty and I have
Give
these
me
physical
money.
actions.
Yeah.
You should make me famous because of it. So now you have three
like,
hundred
I'm
thousand
pretty,
other.
why not? Like, and if people are willing to pay to like look at different like whatever, like look at me, like.
But my issue is just like now it just feels like, and listen, I could be tone deaf on it as well, being a man, because like, but it does feel like a lot of younger girls are just kind of like, why work for it? Where I could just have the easy life and just be pretty and land me a basketball player and live the good life, or whatever, or just take pictures in some bikinis,
and I mean, it's
holding
the
bananas.
market, like
it is.
like if they like it's if like if people weren't buying it, then there wouldn't be people doing it. So
correct.
and like yeah, like it like I think like people think it's easy, and like I've definitely like read up on like a lot of people who do this just out of curiosity, and they're like it's really not that easy because there's a lot of like work that goes into like either maintaining that physique or like specific things, and there's a lot of communication and technical related items, and like it I guess it seems easy because like you think of the context and just like, oh, like take a picture and post it and you'd get paid for it, and like but you also have to work to develop that fan base.
True.
That doesn't, you have to advertise for it. So
like you could go on OnlyFans and you would see a bunch of people who don't have that many followers, and they're probably pretty attractive girls too, and probably aren't making a killing from it.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why I think like it's what she's kind of, I guess, pointing out to. Right. Like a lot of people are just kind of like, well, oh, that's too hard. That's everything else seems easy. All these, and that is the problem with social media. Social media, we never post anything on social media about us like studying or hitting the books.
All you see are like Kim like going to fucking Bahamas. Yeah.
Right. You see, even with us, like we want to take pictures of like, here, it's my birthday. Here's pictures of all the fun we had on a birthday.
Yeah.
Right.
You want the world to think you're successful and like doing well.
It doesn't even have to be like success, but it's like
or like that you're happy.
I mean, that's what you show. That's what you show on social media. Hey, look, we're having fun. Or it is not like necessarily can be bragging or anything else, but I think it just kind of creates like a psychological thing that's it. And if you're on social media all day, that's all you'll see is just people, posting pictures in Vegas or in Dubai or in like a mansion or showing off all this stuff. And you sit there and look at that, you're gonna be like, well, hell, I need to. How do I get? Or at least how do I show that I do that?
What I do want to say is the one thing, like I think like there were like elements of what Kim was saying that were out of context, and like I definitely think she should have like thrown a preface in there or definitely something in there just to be like, hey, like I just really want to quickly say like for like social psychology, like we are definitely in a society where it's very much like we have a belief in a just world, and to which like if we're successful, there has to be a reason why you're not. Mm-hmm. And it's like she's not gonna sit there and say like people aren't really inclined to sit there and say like, oh, like everybody just gave me everything, like I didn't work for anything. Like that's not a characteristic or a life like experience that like people are just going to say, and or like just like be proud of, because it's not what our culture encourages. Like we encourage like the hustle culture, and so I don't like when people say like, oh, like if you don't want to sit there and have all these problems, then just work. Like, what do you say to like people who are like working 3 jobs and they just can't get out of this problem because I don't know, they got some kids, they're single parents.
It's not that simple.
Right. It's never as just like black and white.
And it's because you have to. It's the belief in a just world. You have to think that the reason you're suffering is not because life is life is just random events and chaos and just like sometimes shit happens. You have to like, it's this justification that bad things happen to people for a reason. It falls under victim blaming, and it's just like, and it sucks. And it's the thing is like in order for you to not have that belief system, you have to now admit to yourself, like sometimes shitty things are going to happen to you and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And that's a terrifying thing. And like, not everybody wants to do that. And like, all of that happens. And it's just like, that's literally when you say something like that, like, oh, the reason this isn't working is like, it must've been something you did. Like you are now like, you just did like a belief in a just world thing. And it ties right back to everything I just said. And it's just like, and it's not an easy thing to get rid of.
No, it's not. It's not. Well, on that note, I think we can call this.
Work on your irrational beliefs, folks.
Right.
Before she goes full analyzing on us. Should cut it off.
Any
But-
opportunity to use my
yeah.
degree.
Right. I think what Kayla's trying to say is
Yeah.
that women should just go home and make us sandwiches. You know.
Oh,
Do you wanna get hit?
depends on the sandwich.
Sounds like okay,
You know,
sounds like both
Sandwiches, potato chips, and my laundry needs to get done. So
Whoa,
if you guys
Whoa,
just
whoa.
focus on that,
listen.
knock that out.
I love doing laundry. When you put the dryer sheets in and then you take it out after. Oh man, it smells so
Oh
good.
my god,
It's
I
so
love
warm.
to just like stick my head
It's
in
like
the whole.
I don't
basket.
want a bitch. I'll do my own laundry. So, anyway,
I don't want people touching my
your underwear. Your underwear. Yeah,
Delicate.
they gotta pay
No,
for
like
that.
that's why I'm saying.
You
That's
gotta
why
pay
I
for that.
want. That's why I want you to do it. Like you know.
Oh gosh.
Oh my
Alright.
god.
Final thoughts from anybody? War is bad.
Um,
That's my final thought.
War is bad.
War is bad.
Or bad. Yeah, just research. You look at both sides of the aisle before you come to an opinion. Okay, so that's where you
Fair.
find the loopholes.
Education, love, understanding. That's all I gotta say. In order.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, please. For God's sakes.
For God's sakes.
All right. If we get
Uh-oh.
30 subscribers, Kayla is gonna show up next week in a bikini.
We said that last
I thought our
week.
number.
I know,
was
but
like
it doesn't
up.
happen, so I have to keep saying it
I
until
thought
it
our
happens.
number was like higher than that. You gotta.
Listen.
gotta
All right.
taper it off better than that.
We gotta start somewhere, Kayla. Like they don't believe us. Okay.
That's
I think
fair.
you gotta like just pull one out one night and just be like, hey,
You want the other half? 30 subscribers.
right, come on.
I give a little side boob.
Yes, get a little side boob. Just be like, hey, listen. You know, you thought I was playing.
All
Oh,
for
God.
body positivity, baby.
Absolutely.